Hello everyone, this is Kene and today we shall be solving another problem. Now this involves exchange rates. So a merchant has a certain amount of money in naira and wishes to get that the dollar equivalent of that amount. And so we'll write a program to automatically do the computation, and then the merchant knows exactly how much in dollars, for example, or pounds that he or she is going to get. Okay, so that's it, guys. Let's look at the question together. Okay, write a GUI Python program that accepts an amount in naira and outputs its value in a given currency, dollar, pounds, or euros. So we are going to restrict ourselves to just these three currencies. Now let's take note of this. We need a GUI. Okay, so we're going to make use of Tkinter. But before we get to that, designing and structuring our GUI, let's see how to solve the problem. So if, for example, it costs 500 naira to get $1, right? Now, how much in dollars would someone who has 8,700 naira collect in exchange for, how much in dollar will someone who has 8,700 naira get? So I'm just going to call that Y dollar or dollars this time. Okay, right. So guys, let's see. In maths, I'll just multiply 500 by Y and then 8,000 by 8,700 by Y. So that should be 500Y will be the same as 8,700. Now again, if I divide both sides by 500, I would have Y will be equal to rather 8,700 divided by 500. Okay, so I'm going to use a calculator here, guys. Let's see what it gives us. 8,700 divided by 500. That is $17.40. So Y should be $17.40. Okay, so that's it, guys. Just something like this, right? So we see that for 500 naira you get $1, then for 8,700 you get Y dollars, and that's how we do the maths for that. Let's take note of this. We'll come back to this when it's time to do the maths in the program. But first, let's build our GUI. So I'm going to import Tkinter. Simply say import Tkinter as TK, and I'm going to get the font from Tkinter import font. Right. So let's get the window. I'll just call it win, right? Then initialize it, the window, TK, that method there. Then I have my window. I need to give it a title. My exchange rate app. Then let's set the dimensions. That will just be geometry. I would say 400 by 4 by 350. All right. So that should be the string there. Then I'm going to make it not resizable. So I'll use resizable as a method and set the vertical and horizontal part to false. So false, horizontal, and cannot be resized vertically, false. And I need to push it to the screen and make it remain there until I hit the close button. So to do that, I'm going to take my window and get the main loop, right? So that's it, guys. Now let's run our program, see if we have our window. Great. So that's it, guys. This here is the window, but there's nothing on the window. So we need to do something. Sorry about that. Okay, guys. So now we have our window. The next thing we want to do now is to create the widgets and place them in the window. So first I'm going to create a label. For that, I'm going to call this the label object there, L1, and get the Ginter label. Get Ginter label and set the parameters. First, I need to place it in the container. Place it there. That's the window. That's the parent container. Okay. Then I'll set the text. The text should be currency converter. Okay. Let me just say amount in naira here. Amount in naira. And what else? I think that will be all for now. Okay. Right. For now, that's okay. Then I'm going to just put it in the window. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to create sub parent widget, say a frame yet. I'm just going to take that label and just have it packed to the window, right? Or I'm going to add some spacing vertically. So say 10, right? And I'm going to anchor that to the northwest. So let me have it anchored to the northwest. That should be northwest here. All right. Okay, so that's the layout for that. Now, guys, the next thing I want to do is, okay, I need to create a frame to hold okay, let me create the entry field first. The entry field will be, say, E1, before I create a frame to hold the radio buttons. Okay, so E1 will be set to TK entry. I set the parameters again. I need to put that entry widget the window. Then I'll set the text to a default 0. That's nothing there initially. And what else? I think that would be all for now, right? We are going to come back to certain things later. For example, what's the variable? So how do we grab what the user has put in? Okay, let's just have it right away. So the text variable should be, say, TV text variable. And we need to create the TV, right? TV will be equal to Tkinter string variable. Int variable, int var. So we use this to grab the input as a number, as an integer. Or let me say double var. Okay, so that will be that. Then the next thing I want to do, okay, I've set this. This is a containing variable which we are going to use, right, to do our calculation later in our function, right? Then afterwards, I'm going to create a frame. So I'll just call that F1, the frame, then get a frame. Now I need to put the frame in the window. Then that, okay, yeah, I think that will just be that for now. Put the frame in the window. Then using the frame, I'm going to put the other widgets, the radio buttons, you know, in the frame. So I'm going to create the first radio button. Just have this placed here. F1, just pack it up here. Add Y, I should say 10 again, and have it anchored northwest. TK northwest. Right. So now I have just put the frame in. I have just put the frame in the window. I'm going to create the widgets that we're going to add to the frame. Right. So I will call this radio RB, radio button, RB1. Then that should be Sequencer radio button. Okay. Then it will take some parameters here. Guys, the first is to add it to the frame. So I'm going to say FR1. That is it. It's now in the frame. Then the next, okay, it's not FR, it's just F, guys. Then the next thing is to set the text. What should the user see? So I will set this to $. Then it needs a variable, you know, because it has to be a value, right? So that value should be contained in a variable. So that variable I'm going to call RV. Now, the thing about radio buttons is that it will be the same, you know, they're like a family, a group. So the all the radio buttons in that group will have the same variable name. Do you understand? So if I'm creating 3 radio buttons, the variable name will be common among all 3, will be the same, right? So afterwards, I'm going to say create the value for that. The value should be $. Okay. So I need to create that, initialize the variable there. So RV should be Sequencer string var. All right. So that's it. Then next I want to do is to place it somewhere in the frame. So RB1, RB1, then I'm using the grid this time. And in the grid, I'll put it somewhere, column, say 0. Then the row will be the first row, 0 from there. And stick it there somewhere. Vertically, I will say TK northwest. All right. So it's here now in my frame. Now let's see so far what we have. Make sure there are no errors. Okay. But there's a problem, guys. Where is the entry field? We don't have it. Now, if you look properly, you see that we've not added it to the window. That's why it's not appearing. If you want it to appear, then you must add it and make it show by using a layout. So I'm just going to pack it to the window. I should just take this the same here and just place it here. Okay, so now let's run this again. So okay, we see it here now. This appears, right? Great. Then we need to create other checkboxes. Not checkboxes, rather, radio buttons. I keep using some HTML terms. Okay, so no need for this. The same variable name will be used for all three of them. This should be the second radio button. And this time we should have, let me call these pounds, British pound, and the value should be the pound. Okay, then colon 0, but the next row. Now copy this again, get RB3, the third radio button. Okay, then bring it down, next row, and this should be euro and euro. Okay, all right, so that's it, guys. I hope we understand what we're doing here. Create the radio buttons, place them somewhere in the frame, and the frame itself is contained in the window. So let's see what we have. So now, there is something happening here. I don't want all three of them checked. I just need a default currency checked, right? Just one. But I have all three checked. So that's something that we need to fix. Something about Tikinta, but that can be sorted. So that can be sorted out. I'm going to take this string var, right? And then set the value RV to any of these, either dollar or pound or euro. Okay, so I'm just going to say RV, then call the set method there. Okay, and that should be, now make sure it has it's the same thing in terms of the spelling, whatever value we want to use as the default. So I want dollar to be the default. So I'm just going to call this dollar. Okay, so let's see. Right, so that's been fixed now. We see that the dollar is checked by default, but we can subsequently change that, right? Okay, so we're making progress, guys. Later we would increase the font so that things appear bigger. Now we need to come to each of these checkboxes now, so that we can create a command, and that will have a callback, a function. In that function, we will do the maths and still there output the result. So we create this, we give this argument, this command, and it will take a function as its value. I'm just going to call it my func. That's what I will have for each of the check buttons. I mean, each of the radio buttons. Now, guys, don't worry. I know it's flagging it there, saying that's an error. That's because we haven't created the function yet. Okay. So I will just come up here somewhere and create my function. So my need to define it, use the def keyword, my func. Wow, what am I doing? My func. And I'm going to grab the input by the user, given by the user. So what's the variable there for the entry? The entry, we say that it is TV and it's a double. So tval, I just call it the value, that's tval. Set that, take TV and get it. Just use the get method. So I grab that value, right? So tval is now a typical Python variable. So afterwards, I'm going to grab the value of any checked radio button. You guys understand? So I'm going to say radio RB val, radio button val will be, now what's the variable for that? The variable name we supplied RV for the radio buttons. See, guys, let's see. You see variable RV. So we'll take RV. So let's grab it. RV dot get. So we've got that. Okay, we're making progress, guys. The next thing we need to do is to do the maths. We do the maths, guys. So let's say dollar value will be, say, for, so what I'm trying to say here is that is asking how much in dollar should, I mean, how much in how much naira am I going to have for no, one dollar will be how much in naira. So that's what I'm trying to set here. Okay, so that will be 500 naira to a dollar. I hope that is what it is now, but just for educational purposes. Then pound value, I would say that should be 650. Then euro value should be 600. Okay, so that's what you are going to, that this is the naira value for one, say $1, 500 naira, £1, 650, and €1, 600. Okay, but guys, we need to, what if a user, okay, we'll come to that. Now let's, having grabbed this value here, okay, tval, we need to do the math as we learned the last time. So let's again look at it. I have 500, and that gives me $1. So what the user has put in now, which is like the tval, should be what in naira. I mean, should be what in dollar. That should be y. So that's like saying y will just simply be tval, whatever the user has put in there, divided by 500. So that's what we're going to do here. So clear this off, and I have y, or the equivalent, right? So let me just call this equiv. And it's not going to be static as such. depending on what the check button that the user checks, we grab that, that value. So this would simply be if. So I'm going to use the if clause here. If what's the variable name? RB val. If RB, if RB val is equal to, now we set the value for each of those currencies, like how much in naira. So we see that value here is dollar, value here is pound, value here is euro. We are going to use those values. So if RB val is dollar, then we use the D value, the dollar value. So the value of equiv will be, I'm going to set equiv to, okay, the value of dollar will be D value. Let me just put that here, D value, right? Then else if, so elif RB val pound. If that value is pound, then I'll take the pound value. So equiv will be C val divided by P value, right? Then the last, which it must be, else equiv will be C val divided by euro value. So if it's not the dollar and it's not the pound, then it must be the euro. So E value, right? So I hope we understand, guys, what we are doing here. Getting the answer, we just divide the input by the user. We divide that by the naira value for one say $1 or €1 or one British pound. Right. So having done that, I'm going to take a label. So where should the answer be placed? So we need to come down here, guys, and create a label for the answer. So that label should be called L2, right? And that will be a Tkinter label. And I'm going to place that label in the window itself, that's the parent, and set the text to nothing. Set the text to nothing there. That should do. Then just pack this up. L2.pack, right? And pad, give some space vertically. I should say 10, and then anchor that northwest. Right. So I'm going to reset the value, the text value for this L2, this label, the answer label. So I'll come back here in my function and simply do this L2 and use this method configure to reset the value there of that text parameter. Then I'm going to say text will simply be equiv, right? Okay, so let's run the program. 5,000 or 50,000, whatever, 50,000 to the dollar. Okay, now let's see. Oh, I just realized something. It's already taken a radio button. I've already set the default, so we can't actually calculate this without first of all calculating the value in some other currency. We can't get the dollar. So I think I want to set the default to no button at all. So I'll come here and just set it to nothing. That's the default. So no radio button is checked at the beginning. No. Um, Let me do this right inside the initialization there. During the initialization, set the value to say none or nothing. Okay, an empty string. Let's see what it gives us. Okay, so that's right. Nothing here is chosen. So if I say $56,000 amount, that's 112, 86, blah blah blah, and 93, blah blah blah. So I think this is working. We get the dollar, pound, or euro equivalent, and the answer is placed in this frame. Okay, but guys, you see that we had this double, like point, blah 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 blah. That's long. I think we need to format our answer there. So I'm going to do that now using the format method before I place it in that. Before I place it in the label, right? So I'll go to my function here and take the equiv. So I'll just say new equivalent or formatted equivalent, formatted equivalent, formatted equivalent. Then I will just do this, guys. Use this. Then inside, I'm going to create this, right? Then call format, right? So this will be the value. Watch, guys. I'm going to do this with some space. Then how many decimal places do I need? I need 2. So float 2 decimal places, just something like this. Then the argument will be the value that I want to format. That will be equiv, right? So the text will be the formatted equivalent. Just have this colon sign here, then a comma, then dot 2f, that is 2 floating points, right? So let's see. $56,000, 11, 12, $112, 86 pounds 15, 93, 33. All right. So I think that's it. Okay, now finally, guys, I should I don't know. Just put a message right after that. Say dollar or pound or euro. Okay. So I'm just going to set new equivalents here. Since I'm going to call this currency, set it to dollar. Or actually, no need for that, guys. Since I already have that value as the name of the currency, so I'll just put RB val there. Okay, so this should just be space R space this here, RB just something like this here. Another one, then come here and say RB val. All right. $106 and blah blah blah, the pound equivalent and the euro equivalent. Okay, so that's it, guys. Now, I hope you understand what we did here. Using this format method, you provide placeholders. So the placeholder is like this pair of curly braces. Then in the format method itself, you have some arguments and it's positional. So this equiv will take the place of this first placeholder, and this RB val will take the place of this second placeholder. And you know, this is just what you need to format a number. Say, provide how many decimal places it should have. Then here is just take whatever is here, RB val, and place it here. That's just it, guys. All right. So very quickly now, just to wrap up, I'm going to increase the size of those widgets and the size of the fonts. So I'll create my font here, say my font class, and call the font method. Then I know that the family, let me take Calibri, family Calibri, right? Then the size should be 16, and the weight should be, let's make that bold. So I've created the font, and that will be an argument, the value of the font argument as we have in the, when initializing the widget. So here, my label, I'm going to have font, and that will be set to my font. So I'm going to take that, you know, just very basic design here, nothing too fancy. Place it here, right? Then right here, place it, place it, place it. Okay. Then this entry, also place that here. So let's run the program. Okay, guys, so that's it. Amount in naira, 67,000. What's the pound? 103 pounds. The dollar, $134 and 111 euro. Okay, so that's it, guys. Now, finally, what if a user gives us, say, mistakenly R56? I don't want the program to crash. No, I don't want that. So you see, we don't want this. So we need to handle the error there in our function. So I'm simply going to use a try except block. So when we try to make use of the input as a number, if there's an error, then let us just set the value to be 0, set it to 0. That's what we're going to do here. My tval, when we try to get it, there's an error, then you know, make that value a number, which is for me 0. Okay, so I'm just going to say try try catch or try except, since this Python, except T-val should be 0. Now that's when it tries to do the conversion. I'm going to just move some things, okay? Right here. Then take this. Need to place RB. Let me create RB val there. Equals to RB dot get. Okay. Then if there's an error, just still take this. Sorry guys, I'm kind of retyping the same thing. Okay. So I'll set this equiv first of all to a 0. Oh, and just grab this, put it inside, put it here, and then try, and then you do this. Okay. So what else is it saying? Unresolved equiv. Okay. I should grab this here, place it here. All right. So guys, I think that's been fixed. Then let's run the code again. $56,000. And even where the user gives us 54R or W, instead of crashing, it should just resolve to 0. Okay, so that's it, guys. Thank you so much. I'll leave this program on my website. I guess you know the site already. That's www.thetutoraid.com.ng. Okay, so I hope you have a second look at this code, and then also watch the video again. Programming or software is about solutions. And in creating solutions, you need to solve problems. Identify a problem and think about how to solve it. That way, you make yourself relevant in the world, okay? So thank you guys. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.